A couple of months ago, I took my car to a new racetrack. I did a first slow reconnaissance lap just to get to know the layout of the track a little bit, and then started to go faster and faster. That is, at least, until I've noticed this weird clunking coming from the back of the car. It may not seem like much on camera, but from the driver's seat, this was quite violent. So naturally I got so scared that I decided to end my truck day in that same instance and slowly made my way out of the track. And when I got home, I left the car and started to search for loose suspension parts and bolts. But the only thing I found was this. It seems like the rear trailing arm bushings have given up on life, and by doing so, the car has unlocked four-wheel steering. And it's kind of a bummer, considering that I replaced them just 9 months ago. Although, to be fair, it doesn't really come as a surprise considering the type of driving I've been doing ever since. I like to use my car. But still, I was hoping they would last a little bit longer than just 9 months and 8,000 kilometers. Anyway, 9 months ago, on that cold January morning when I was laying down on the concrete driveway under my car, trying to reassemble the rear suspension before frostbite started to creep in, I remember thinking to myself, if God forbid I ever need to do this job again, just because of the ease of installation, I'm switching to polyurethane bushings. Because you see, these factory rubber bushings are difficult to get right. You need to press them in very carefully, and once you reassemble everything, you can't just simply torque every suspension arm down to spec. You are supposed to do this with the suspension properly loaded, so that there is no shear preload on the rubber. And well, in my case, working in these kind of conditions, it's kinda difficult to have the suspension properly loaded and being able to go underneath the car to tighten everything up to spec. And that's why I love Powerflex bushings so much. Not sponsored. Not only they can be pushed in with your bare hands, but they also have this dual piece design where the inner sleeve can rotate independently to the bushing, which effectively eliminates the problem of having to preload the bushing. And I know that they are harsher than rubber and that the riding experience is not going to be as cushy and luxurious as before, but listen, at this stage in my life, me and my spine can still afford to not care about comfort. All I want is to have a car with constant suspension geometry that goes straight down the road, and while doing so, it doesn't wear the tires unevenly. Because I'm kinda sick of having to visit alignment shops every 3 months and changing tires every year. So in the light of these circumstances, in this video, I am partially switching the rear suspension to polyurethane bushings. Now, this is the part I love the most about them. No preload. Rotates nicely, completely independently from the rest of the bushing. This bolt gets pressed against this metal sleeve and it rotates independently from the rest of the bushing. Yeah, I love this design. And it was exactly at this moment when I realized that the problem was not only with the real trailing arm bushings, but also with the interior bushings. So immediately after finishing installing these bushings, I went home and placed an order on the interior bushings as well.
The sketchy shit I have to do sometimes just to get the job done. It's incredible. Now it's time to replace these with these. Oop. Ta-da! This side is done, and today we are going to be continuing with this side. And judging by the weather, it looks like this is going to be the best footwell for the job. as well. Here and there. And there, and the one there. The other side as well. And now, let's bolt the diff down. The diff is all bolted down. Let's bolt the axles. This side done. This side also done. Everything is bolted down, or at least I hope so. Let's put the wheels back on and put the car on the ground.
I finished my car on a Friday and booked an appointment in the alignment shop for the next Monday. The guys told me that they only needed to make minor adjustment with the toe angle. So I guess my marker strategy worked out pretty well. So the E46 compact with polyurethane bushings. We have no more clunking and no more weird stuff. And after months of headaches, the car handles great. And I have to say, this is almost like going from hiking boots to barefoot shoes. You can feel the pavement a lot more than before. It's almost like if the tires were extensions of my body. You can feel the road, the car feels more sharp and feels planted. And for doing some spirited driving on a back road like this, that's a very good thing. In regards to road noise, I cannot really tell the difference, but every time I go over a bump, it's definitely much more noticeable. But hey, all in all, I am very happy with this upgrade. You know, the performance gains are fun and all of that, but most importantly, and as I said at the beginning of this video, these polyurethane bushings were much easier to install, and hopefully they will do a much better job at just lasting and keeping my wheel alignment within spec. That's all I have for you in this one, and see you next time.